Right, stand by. Roll sound.
Speed.
Roll camera.
Speeding.
Slate.
Scene one, take one, mark.
And action. Hey everybody, how you doing? Here we are, Burnie's Applebox. Got an awesome show today. Got my good old buddy. Well, I'm a little older than him, but my good old buddy Ed Mailhot.
Hey, Burnie.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man.
All right. I've got to tell you about Ed. When I had just first come to California, and I was trying to get into the business as it did. I hardly knew anything about it. I was an extra. I was doing all kinds of stuff, and a friend asked me to drive their grip truck to a shoot and then work as a PA on the shoot, and that shoot was directed by Mr. Ed Mailhot here.
Body by Jake, right?
Body by Jake. Body by Jake, if, for you oldsters out there that might remember that. But you know, I had kind of, the hair was a little long then, and
Mine was.
yeah, yours was real long. Mine was just kind of disheveled, almost like I slept in the truck that night.
Yeah.
And so Ed had the makeup girl give me a haircut, and a hair, excuse me, it wasn't makeup, it was hair. And she gave me a haircut, and all of a sudden I looked like a different person to everybody on set. And Ed was talking about, but from that first shoot, Ed and I became great friends over, I think, 25 years ago.
It's been awesome.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Ed is such a close personal friend that we talk and joke about everything. But what I wanted to talk to you today about, Ed, is your longevity in the business. And Ed is like someone who was there right at the beginning, and we'll get into it. We've got a lot of projects that he shot back in the 90s, and we'll really look at the progression of your career and how media has changed so much.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I started in '81 was my first job in the industry. So 36 years now.
Sure.
And the evolution of equipment and process of production has changed so much, and what we deliver to now has changed so much. So it's been a little bit hard for this old guy and my partner, who's my age or older than me, also for us to adapt to that change. But I think that you have to adapt to be successful.
Absolutely.
And so with the evolution of the equipment and everything else, it's brought more people into the industry, a lot of younger people who are hungry, and so we've had to evolve as well, and that's what we've really been focused on doing.
Yeah, and that is so, there was change when we started, of course, when I first met you, and there was a progression of change that I even missed in there, and that was going from film to beta, or video.
To video, right.
Yeah. And I remember when I intersected you, that was well underway.
We were already, that was television stuff, because I
Yeah.
was like the primary producer director for Body by Jake in the early '90s for 5 or 6 years. I did all of his TV shows and workout videos and all that kind of stuff. So we were squarely in television production mode.
Yeah.
But we were still shooting film for some projects, commercials, some high-end corporate videos.
Sure.
We still shoot film. And of course, before that in the '80s as well. One of the spots I actually did in '92 was a little local TV spot that featured Adam West, who was the original Batman. And he hadn't acted for a while, but he had bought a car at a local Palm Springs Mitsubishi dealership. And they said, hey, we can get Adam West to be in a commercial. And I don't remember how they got a hold of me, but can you come up with the concept? And I said, well, the car that they wanted to sell was the Mitsubishi 3000, which was this amazing Batmobile looking car, right?
Yes.
And I said, why don't we get Adam and we create some kind of a Batcave? So shooting on film, we rented out a hangar in Palm Springs, and we kind of lit it with a lot of blue light and stuff like that and smoke, and made this car look like the Batmobile. And I had this really great line that I wrote for Adam to say, and he very wonderful man and very excited to be there, and he was really into it.
That's so awesome. I think we got that
Yeah.
too. Can we see that, Travis?
25 years ago, I think we did this
Wow.
one. It's going back.
Wow.
These are the hands that drove the world's fastest crime-fighting machine through the streets of Gotham City. Now they're driving Mitsubishi through the streets of the desert. Be a champion. Drive a
Yeah,
champion.
so that was a
That's
that was a local.
That was a local spot. It
local
looked like
TV
a
spot.
national spot.
Right,
I was going
right.
to say that could work today.
Right. So we loved to shoot film back then, obviously. But I had also been shooting a lot of digital in the 80s as well. In fact, in I think 85 or 86 when the first Betacams came out, Sony found out that I was a young shooter, and they gave me the first Betacam for like 2 weeks to use. Mm-hmm. And
That must have been a thrill.
well, you know, up until then, all recording was off camera. So the decks, whether it was a 3/4 inch deck or a 1 inch deck or whatever, was off camera. Not
You
attached to the
cable-
camera.
you
It
cabled
was- it
out
was
to
a
the
cable.
deck. Yeah.
And the Betacam showed up, and here's the camera the size of a standard TV camera, but it had a little Beta deck, little recorder, and we were just blown away by that. So, you know, digital in that sense, the thing back then is we didn't have the resolution we have now.
Right.
So we were always trying to make video look like film. So if you look at a lot of video and stuff that like I did in the 80s, a lot of it's got filtration on the lenses because video looked too video-y.
Yeah.
So we were trying to soften it up and make it prettier like film, not knowing that it had nothing to do with that.
Right.
But we're just so
You were
desperate.
trying to use every film trick you knew.
So we were putting, you know, pantyhose on the back of the lens,
I
and the
remember
front of the
that,
lens,
yeah.
you know, and we would make sure to go buy the good stuff.
Yeah.
Because it had to be good. It can't be the cheap pantyhose. It had to be the good pantyhose.
It has been this French kind,
right.
I believe. Yeah, it was
exactly.
from France.
And
yeah.
then we'd put it on the back and to soften the image, you know, because we just wanted to look better.
Yeah.
So there was that evolution. But by the time I started working with you, I was definitely in TV mode, multi-camera TV.
Yes.
Did a lot of truck stuff. In fact, I think that one was a truck shoot.
Yeah.
Where I was in the truck, and or maybe it was, or maybe I'm confusing, but I think it was. But I did a lot of that back in the 90s.
Right.
But, you know, to be busy in the industry, I've always been kind of a jack of all trades. Mm-hmm. So shooting and editing, writing, producing, directing, everything, and I've always really enjoyed all that.
Yeah, and you know what? And we'll talk about this because we're going to come to now
Mm-hmm.
on that, and some things have come full circle. Am I right? Like you're more hands-on now, I think, than you were back then. You were more selling and really in the creative sales side.
Well, now my partner and I, we have a production company. We have employees. We have an office.
Right.
So there's a lot of management that we have
You're
to do.
growing up now.
Right, but so I can't be as hands-on as I'd like to be, but I still love to edit. When I go out and do like some of the videos that we have to show where our documentary style, I'll shoot my own B-roll.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, and you were just down in, where were you?
in Aruba.
In Aruba, just shooting last week.
Yeah, and I took a drone up there too.
Yes.
The Mavic Pro. We were talking about that.
Yes.
So that's the other thing. You know, that change of how I have a video which I did that is not on our stuff here, where I had to do helicopter shots of Tejon Ranch.
Wow.
Flying over Tejon Ranch,
Wow.
and you know, I know how much money was involved in having
Just getting the helicopter and the mount.
and the mount. It was like $10,000 a day for the mount or something like that.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
And now we can just take a drone up and
I know.
you know, buy one for $1,200.
What is that like? That's crazy.
It's been amazing.
Yeah.
So again, it's all part of that evolution, and you just have to. For any older producers out there who are holding on to the old way of doing things, you got to let it go.
Let it go,
Gotta
baby.
let it go.
Let it go.
Otherwise, you're not going to survive in this business.
Yeah, no. In fact, you've probably already failed.
Probably.
At this point. This point. You know, I think one of the things, too, I know, Ed, that you're big on is that cutting edge creative. You know, here's the thing, and just take this from my point of view. I don't know if I've ever actually told you this. You know, for me, when I intersected you, I was so new in the industry.
You were green as Gumby.
I was green as Gumby. I like that. That's good. But you know, what I saw you guys doing, and I remember there was a guy named Dave who was a DP, and I don't know if he lit that. Who lit that Mitsubishi spot? Do you remember?
It might have been Dave. It was, well, we're talking about Dave McMurray.
Yes.
Who's not in the business anymore, but he's a Facebook friend, so he might be watching this.
Okay,
right now.
all right. Well, I hope he is, because I'll tell you, he was not actually a full-time DP that
Correct.
first shoot that I met him.
Correct.
And I remember the client was Viking, and we were shooting these small little computer chips, I believe.
Right.
And I remember it was the first time I had done anything like Table Talk. And of course I was a PA on the set. I was not part of it, but it was a small crew, so I could get in there and help out.
Yeah.
I was so amazed at his attention to detail and how he could make these chips look sexy, because I could never imagine like how you can make something look something that boring, frankly.
Well, and it's amazing what you can do through a lens. And
Absolutely.
And, you know, I've never called myself a DP, but I've been around a lot of great DPs. I've used them, you know, Craig Barker being one of them.
Sure,
one of the
Craig's
great ones who I've been
fantastic.
working with since college days. And
Yeah.
many of the stuff on our reel is his
Is from his
directing
stuff.
and DP
Sure.
shoots that our company produced. And I've learned a lot from all those people. And learn what the camera can do and the illusion that you can create with the camera, and it still fascinates me. And I still learn something new in every shoot, which is amazing after this long.
Yeah. It's the same with me. I remember looking, and this was long ago, but I was just on a shoot yesterday, and I had the same experience. You're looking at it, you're busy, you're working, getting everything together, and then you go over and you get the chance to, now it's time to look and see what you've done, what you need to fix, what you need to tweak.
Right.
And still being grabbed by that frame. Still being grabbed by it.
We do a lot of corporate video.
Yeah.
Some of it's not all that exciting, to be honest. But it pays the bills. It's good,
Sure,
good
of
project.
course.
But I still go in to light a talking head with as much passion as I did
Absolutely.
the creative stuff a long time ago, because it's still my profession, and I want to make sure that everything looks the best it can look. And you have to have passion to be in this business.
Yes.
You have to have a passion for it, otherwise you'll never make it in the first place.
You can't take the beating it takes to be in this business if you don't love it.
Correct. I don't know what else I would do, frankly. I mean,
Yeah.
I would be in trouble.
I've got a couple ideas, but we won't bring those up here. Anyway, Ed, so we got another piece here, and it's another retro piece here. What do we have? Do you know?
Yeah, this is some of the workout stuff. So I was just saying that, you know, in the 90s, a lot of what I did was stuff for Body by Jake, and
Who is a great guy, by the way.
Jake's a great guy, very successful, not only with workout stuff and being a pioneer of branding, but also in infomercial, and doing well, because we produced a lot of infomercials with him as well, and that's how I got into infomercials, and ultimately that's how I met my partner Chad, was through working on an infomercial with Body by Jake.
Chad, who is one of the pioneers of the infomercial.
One of the kind of legends of
Absolutely.
VR television. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And he's my partner, and so we have a whole infomercial side to our business, which has evolved greatly as well.
Yeah, and we're going to take a look at some of that stuff.
Yeah,
too.
but the samples that we had here of the workout stuff, you know, really all it was is just kind of showing that, you know, back then the way we produced television and even videos was all linear editing.
Okay.
So this was before computer editing.
Sure.
So
It was tape to tape.
Tape to tape. So what you would do is you'd shoot, and you'd have VHS window burns of your raw footage, and you would sit down and you write down every time code number in and out of your edits, and then you'd take it into a facility where you paid a minimum of $150 an hour
Wow.
to run the footage from one tape to the next. And you had to think ahead, because there was no cut and paste.
Yeah.
There was no undo. There was no such thing.
Right.
So the online editor sitting in front of you, he would say, "You want to wreck this? You want to make it red? That whatever." There was some term for actually pushing the record button, and he would sometimes ask you 2 or 3 times, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" Because we'd preview the edit. We'd look at the edit on
Right.
the monitor,
He wanted to make sure there wasn't a second thought or
Because
another
to
idea.
go back and change that one shot, if you made an edit and you made 6 edits after that, and you look at the sequence and you go, I need that first shot to be half a second longer. You had to go back, relay that shot, and every shot after it had to be relayed real time,
Wow.
tape to tape. So you had to think through everything.
Yeah.
And I think that it's actually really helped me and my partner in how we approach projects now, because we have to think ahead to visualize how something's going to look before we start shooting it, before we start editing it.
Sure.
So I think that's a helpful, it's kind of an antiquated talent to have, but I think it's a useful talent to have.
No, it's not spray and pray. It's basically you're thinking for every shot,
Right.
which is what you should be doing.
Right.
You know?
On a lot of the stuff that I do now, or we do for our corporate work, since we've had to learn to be scalable, we'll go out with just myself and one other guy, and we'll shoot these little documentary kind of videos about customers and things like that. And I don't know what I'm going to run into when I get there. So I shoot the interview first, and I'm listening very, very carefully to what they're saying, and then I make my B-roll shot list after that.
Yeah.
Because I need a shot of this, I need a shot of that.
Say it, see it.
Say it, see it. And I'm not going to shoot a lot of extra stuff. I'm going to shoot what I know that I need, because you have one day to shoot the entire video. So you can't just be going, oh, let's just go out and spend 2 hours shooting the outside of the building. No, you can't do that.
Yeah, right.
You have 5 minutes to shoot the outside of the building.
As much as you would like to.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. So I think we're going to have a piece here. What is this piece again that we did?
Which one are we talking about here?
The workout.
Oh, the workout. Yeah, I thought we were going to play that. We don't have to play that one now, I guess. But
Go ahead. Let's see it. Let's see it. Yeah, we want to take a look. Here we
yeah.
go.
So yeah, I mean,
Is
again,
this no audio, right?
yeah, no audio. You know, again, this is just actually this body gym is a little bit newer, but I mean, basically, you'll see that we were shooting in 4:3.
See those graphics and everything.
Oh, it's
that's
so-
like classic old school,
It's
right?
so old school classic. But like this show we did, this is for ESPN International. We shot this in Cozumel.
That looks like a very tough job.
It was a rough job. But that's a lot of what we did. But this was very classic TV, jib arm and multiple camera. And then this is the Body by Jake stuff that I did. I was the supervising producer of Fit TV. And this is Tammy Lee Webb, who's the Buns of Steel, and who she's still a really good friend of mine. And this is the cruise where I met my wife.
Really?
Yeah, she wasn't on
Wow.
camera. She was there on the cruise.
She was
but
vacationing.
it was vacationing.
Oh, that's so classic.
So good memories there. But that's a lot of what we did. But again, all of these shows were edited linear. None of this.
Unbelievable.
And these graphics, this was cutting edge 3D graphics at the time.
yeah.
This is 1994, 1993.
Wow.
It's pretty, this is all like on a set with Jake, and we'd build a set in a studio.
And there was a lot of light in there too.
There was a lot of light because those cameras were slow.
Very slow.
Really slow. So anyway, I mean, that's kind of the gist of that, but it was a lot of traditional studio work that we used to do in the workout area.
It's amazing when you see a piece like that, you do get how much it's all changed.
Right.
The look, the flow, the technology,
Right. Everything now is, a lot of it has to do with how people, how they take in media now. The onslaught of it.
It's much faster.
And not only that, but there's a way that they view it. There needs to be more of a genuine approach to creative. You used to be able to write something that was obviously manipulative in terms of the creative approach.
Hit them over the head with
Yeah,
it.
right.
Yeah.
And most people, some of that still, there's a lot of old school like
Plenty.
DR people who believe that really still works, but most audiences, particularly if they're younger, are very savvy.
Absolutely.
And they know something is being sold to them, and they put a screen up and they become unresponsive to that.
And you do naturally. I know myself, you know what I mean? First of all, when I'm looking at an ad or something like that, I'm kind of taking it apart a little bit.
Right.
But if it works, I don't do that at all.
Right.
And
right.
I'm
if
into
I'm
the message.
entertained by it or something like
If
that.
I feel like I'm relating to it.
And if it's something that I need.
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
there's-
then your interest is definitely.
one of the great things that my partner Chad's always been able to do is find kind of the core of the story and what a product is saying it needs to say in order to sell the product. In other words, instead of us saying, well, this is a product that does this, let's just talk about that, he'll go to the point of doing all these testimonials first and letting people who've actually used it tell us what the show needs to be. And I think that's true of marketing any product, is try to be real with. One of the clips that we have from an infomercial perspective, if you can bring it up, is Your Baby Can Read.
You know what? We're going to do that in just a minute.
Yeah.
We're going to look at another commercial right now.
Oh, okay. Which was that?
Oh, this one is for Burnie's Grip and Light.
Okay.
You're going to love it.
Okay.
I made this
Are
one
the
for
production
you.
values good?
Oh, off the charts, dude.
Okay.
So, yeah, we're going to watch that, take a little quick commercial break, and we'll be right back. Hi, I'm Burnie. I own Burnie's Grip and Lighting, San Diego Grip and Lighting, and Los Angeles Grip and Lighting. You know, we pride ourselves on not only renting you the best equipment, but also giving you the best crews. And one of our core values here at Burnie's Grip and Lighting is that we give you the highest production value in the world. And remember, people used to say national, local. No, we present world-class production value on every set. We also know budgets are very tight these days, and you've got 10 hours to get what you need in the can. We move ahead, we move fast, and we know what you need. When you rent from Burnie's Grip and Lighting, you have a partner on your production for that day that is making sure you are well taken care of. So anytime you're in Southern California, give us a call at 714-609-3545, and we'll take very good care of you. See you on set. Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm here with Ed Mailhot.
That didn't suck at all, Burnie.
I should have called you in. I should have called you in. I know you would have had some B-roll in there at least. We're talking to Ed, and Ed is a longtime producer, longtime director, and still very, very active and prolific in the business. And this is why I wanted Ed on here, is because for this fact is he can speak to the whole general course that we've been through for the last 30 plus years. And Ed's variety of subjects you do, I think, is very, very, it tells a lot.
Well, I mean, when I think about everything I've done in the industry, I have virtually done everything except for motion pictures and, say, episodic television. But all other types of media, I've done. Produced music videos, television like CNN, Larry King Live, and of course the Body by Jake, ESPN type of stuff, corporate video infomercials, and now on the web, it's all marketing, branding, online stuff. Done all of that. And then even within the corporate world, we haven't been in a niche. I haven't been in a niche. It's not just like training. It's marketing, branding, trade show videos, launch videos. You know, all kinds of stuff. So in my career, I have, you know, I think about everything I've done. I've been inside the supercomputer room at Intel, you know, which most people don't even get access to. Been able to go into like for a company that's called Western Digital, which is still makes hard drives. I was went inside with a bunny suit and shot inside one of their clean rooms.
And that was way back too. That was maybe one of the first times that happened.
I did a job for Taco Bell where I flew in the Taco Bell corporate jet for 8 days. We went from here to Florida, all the way across the country and back to Alaska, shooting every day on the corporate jet. I've been in places, you know, worked with executives that most people. I did a documentary for Dick Clark Productions on the day one of Boeing and McDonnell Douglas coming together.
Oh my gosh.
I was at the Air and Space Museum in Washington, D.C. shooting that documentary. I'm right with the chairman of each company, talking to them, working with them. You have access in our business to things. You've been there too. You're in places and you're talking
to people. Not like
you,
but yeah, but you're amazed. You stand around and say,
it's not a boring job because you're not stuck in the same place in the same job every day. You never know what experience you're going to have. And that really makes it exciting. So the variety of work I've done has been really interesting. And but it's still evolving. We're doing more documentary work now. Before the break, we were starting to talk about infomercials a little bit more.
Yeah, I want to talk about Chad too.
Yeah. So
Chad Murdoch.
Chad Murdoch, right. So we have a sample of Your Baby Can Read. We can have that playing in the background.
Yeah, you know what? Let's do that. Yeah, let's roll that while we do it. And I want to tell you a little story. When I still lived in Tacoma, Washington, before I had moved down to Los Angeles,
That's Chad there.
Yeah, that's Chad. And I saw Hooked on Phonics. And it was that one, and he shows a piece of it actually in this piece of where he came out and his son talked to him, and there's a set on stuff like that. And I thought, now, and this was totally pure, had not been in the business at all. I thought, that's what they should be doing.
Right.
When I saw that, there's somebody talking to me as a consumer,
Right.
directly to me,
And normal, not like a pitch
not
man.
pitch,
Yeah.
not pitch, normal, talking about why he was doing it.
So with Your Baby Can Read, this was one of our biggest successes. We won Infomercial of the Year for this. And what you're going to see here,
You
this
won
is
infomercial of the year for this.
for this, yeah.
Okay.
But notice that this is a lot of home footage.
Yeah.
So again, Chad's always pioneered different ways to do things, and this is a show where we realized that people weren't going to believe it unless parents were sending in their own footage of their kids
Wow.
reading. And this is like 2007,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
It's not as current.
I worked on some of this with you, a
did.
couple pieces.
No, we have some, obviously professionally produced, testimonials and
Yeah.
other stuff, but a lot of this is
But
home
this
video.
is the
Yeah.
family photos.
And
here.
but it resonated with people because it was real.
Yeah.
And so that's what we try to do. That being said, the infomercial business is changing tremendously.
Yeah. Let's
And-
talk about that.
Yeah. As we were talking about before, consumers are more savvy as to, a product and whether or not it's real or not, will work or not.
Right.
In fact, when I tell people that my company does infomercials, they're like, well, aren't all those testimonials fake?
Yeah.
Don't you guys just tell them
I
what to
think
say?
that's a given, like assumption.
And that is unfortunately what most people think. And I know that Chad and I, we go out of our way to make sure that testimonials are real testimonials. That these are people
And I know that for a fact,
Yeah.
having worked with you.
Yeah, we don't put words in people's
Yeah.
mouths because you're not allowed to do that anymore. But a lot of producers still do.
Yeah.
But so you have to get over that block that people have as soon as they see an infomercial. And the only way you really sell, I think, is like you said earlier, connecting with them on a way. First of all, if it's a product that they really have a need for, that
Sure.
helps. You have to create that problem solution equation there. But reaching them in a way that's as genuine as possible, and that's what we try to do.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No,
But
and it shows.
evolution-wise, though, what's happening though with that savviness, and mostly the online, is now people, they'll see an infomercial, and a few years ago, all there was an 800 number. You had to call the number
Right.
to order the product.
Yes.
Now there's a URL, and every year more and more people are going to the URL and they're buying the product through the website.
Yes.
So, and now what we're also realizing is people see a product on TV and they Google it. Reviews.
Almost immediately.
I mean, I do the same thing.
Exactly.
So you have to then realize that you're producing a show that is going to have to be watched probably multiple times before someone decides to sell, and they're going to go to the website. And so the website's got to be designed to grab them and close the sale,
Yeah.
basically. And then, of course, with online marketing now, the traditional 30-minute infomercial is starting to lose some of its steam.
Well, 30 minutes is an eternity now.
The airtime's actually a lot cheaper now for those because not as many people are producing them.
Really?
And the 30
Now,
minutes.
isn't that opposite?
Well, you think.
I guess so.
But
yeah,
the 30-minute format is interesting though because it gives you more time to tell the story about a product. So we do like that for some products. But now it's like we're starting to work with agencies that do the online marketing thing, and they have that nailed. The analytics, the platforms, real-time understanding of how media is being observed and reacted to. And that's really where it's going now. It's creating, you're still creating video, you're still creating commercials, but now it's not on television necessarily anymore. It's going to be in some form of a small snippet online.
Right.
That's going to grab
It's going to be
people.
that bite, that disposable media, as I
Correct.
call it,
And,
that you
know,
open it
and
up, eat it.
You make more disposable media than anybody I've ever seen.
Most of it gets
I'm
disposed
amazed
of
at how
pretty
much
quickly.
disposable media. I dispose of it very quickly also. Oh,
I
there's
know
Burnie
that-
again.
but
Now
you know
swipe.
what? You know what? You saw it. I don't
did.
care.
I
You
did.
spent 3 seconds
I
on
did.
it. I get the view.
You just not grabbing me, Burnie.
Nor do I want to, Ed. So you know, in that infomercial world, is it dead?
Some people would say that, but there are still infomercials out there playing, and they're still doing really well. And I really think that the days of, there used to be like even 10, 15 years ago, thousands of infomercials a year were being produced, and only a small percentage would stick,
Right.
right? That would actually do well.
Right.
And that's always been a ratio that,
It was about what, maybe 10%,
maybe if
something,
if even that much,
if
would
even
break
that.
even or
Oh,
do better
wow.
than that. Now I think there's a lot less being produced because they're expensive to produce, versus other forms of media.
Sure.
And so I think you're going to continue to see less produced, but the products can still be sold on television. And there's a great way to do that, and television still
Is the
television's
key.
not going away.
No.
I don't think it's going away. It's evolved, but it's not going away. So, I mean, maybe the online platforms will merge with TV, but you're always going to have this big thing in front of you that you're watching stuff on, whatever you want to call it. And so the evolution of DR and marketing video is really just how do we maximize creative and the marketing pitch for a product,
Right.
to leverage.
Well, your
that new platform.
analytics these days too have never been like that. You never had anywhere near that back in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s and stuff. Not
don't-
even close.
Yeah, no, we often had no idea, for a while how a show was going to do.
Yeah. You would test it.
You would test it, yeah.
But
We still
you,
do that. We still do that.
You don't know how it's going to play out
Yeah,
throughout
it's
the
not like
country.
it's not like you can now you can put a video on YouTube or something like that and get instant reaction to
yes.
it, or an ad that's embedded in Facebook or some other platform, and you get an instant click through rate and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
So, but that's what we're learning from these other agencies. We've decided not to try to do that because what we do is we do video and television production. That's what we do.
Right.
We're
not analytics.
We're not going to try to do somebody else's job. So
Right.
we've partnered with, we have one agency in Irvine called Lucid Fusion that we partner with, and we try to do a lot with them. They're great. But that's what they do. They're an online. They create websites, brand content for websites, and do all the analytics for online marketing. And so we let them do that, and we offer that now to our customers, which we didn't offer before. And I think that's kind of a big key.
That's great. That's awesome. So what we have a couple more in the queue. You did that infomercial, and what, Travis? What do we have next? Do you know, Ed?
Well, we have. I know that there's a couple things I wanted to show in the corporate side and branding side.
Okay.
We've done launch videos for products. One of these is a little bit older. It's for Jafra. And one of the things I wanted to talk about, I mentioned Craig Barker earlier.
Yeah.
Craig's been kind of our go-to guy for a lot of our high-end stuff. He's brilliant. I went to college with him. That's how long we've known each other. I remember we produced a music video back in 1980, I don't know, 82, 83, where we built the set in his backyard of his parents' house. And we've been friends ever since. And whenever we can get a bigger project in that has his talent, we do that. So if we want to play Jafra, this was a launch video for a direct marketing company, a direct selling company. This is a launch video for one of their new products.
Okay, awesome. Let's take a look at that.
The next generation of beauty. Jafra color. Beautiful in every way.
Can I talk over this?
Radiant shine.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this was shot in one 22-hour production day. So the close-up shot.
22 hours.
22-hour day, and the close-up on this model, forget her name, God bless her, she was a trooper. So the close-up of her eye, where she's putting on the mascara right there, that's 3 o'clock in the morning. She'd been all that time.
That's brutal.
Yeah, it was brutal. But This is interesting because this is for a direct marketing
You had a
company.
white tagger in there too. You have
That-
a tagger on set?
No, that was from Green Screen Animals. I'm just doing a plug
Oh, yeah.
for them. We bought that clip from them and we
Okay.
composited that in. But anyway, this looks like a national TV commercial, right?
Absolutely.
It was for the opening of a sales meeting.
Really?
Yeah.
That's national spot
Right.
quality.
That was for the opening of a sales meeting.
Wow.
Our company has produced launch videos for like Nissan and Intel. I produced with Rob Hart helping me out. Who's
Sure,
a friend of
Rob's
yours.
been a guest
We
on
did
here.
a video years ago for the CES for the CEO of Intel, a presentation for him. A lot of really big stuff. Another clip that we have that I brought was something a little bit more recent, which was a brand video for a company called Visalis. It's called Visalis Anthem. And I'll talk over this a little bit as it plays, but this is again, a direct marketing company that was spending money to create their brand identity and relaunch their brand identity. And so they wanted a Nike-esque
I worked on that shoot with the ballet with Craig Barker
right.
and you guys.
That's
yeah,
right.
That was I think a 3-day shoot or something.
6 days.
We were all in downtown LA.
Yeah, we're downtown, but we ended up shooting 6 days on this.
Okay.
But the cost of this, and people look at it and go, "Oh, that's nice." The cost of renting those locations in
Oh
LA.
my gosh.
I think I ended up spending on the producing side probably $50,000 in location fees.
Wow.
And then, we're closing down streets there.
Yeah,
the 6th Street
right.
Bridge, and
6th Street Bridge,
2nd
sure.
Street Tunnel, and
2nd Street Tunnel, I remember that. The cops were at both ends. The
Yeah,
2nd Street Tunnel
yeah.
was down, and we're getting shots of them running up.
We're on top of hotels. That's 6th Street Bridge.
Yeah, there it is right there.
And there's the
2nd
tunnel.
Street. Yeah.
And interesting story about the gentleman who's riding that bike. It's a little hard to see in the quick shots, but he is missing a leg. So and we wanted someone who rode recumbent bikes to be interesting. And we found this guy who's missing a leg, and we just thought he'd be a great character to have in. And so when we called him and said, "You want to fly out to LA and be in this video?" he thought we were joking.
Oh, I'm sure he did.
He thought we were joking until he got to the hotel in LA, and he came to the set, and he's like, until I got here, I thought I was getting ripped off or something. I thought someone was going to kill me or something. I
Oh
didn't
my
know
God.
that this
Oh
was
my-
real.
Shouldn't have flown out in that case.
Yeah,
I
that's
would've
what I said.
stayed
So why'd
home.
you fly out?
I would have stayed home. Can we see that again, Travis? Can you just roll that again? It's a beautiful piece, and I worked on it, and I don't know that I had ever seen that before right now.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think 98% of the things I work on, I never see.
Sure.
Just because that's the nature of it,
Sure.
But very well done. It looks great.
Well,
It looks great.
and the thing is, what was interesting about it is we did such a good job at making it look high end. Like, see right there, those little logos. We had to
Yeah.
add those in post because the client ultimately almost felt too generic. Like we had actually
It
just
wasn't
gotten a bunch
branded
of
enough,
like
right?
that we had so much great footage. It must have looked like it was national footage that we bought on stock footage.
Oh.
So they said, "Can we go back in and add some logos?"
What a great compliment.
So we had to go back in and add logos. But I mean, we hired dancers and.
Yeah, I remember. It was a very fun show.
Here's the other thing that's evolved a lot in our business from a production side is talent. Getting talent. I don't want to understate what these people do because there's a lot of there's the guy with a lot of really talented people and actors in LA. But the truth is you can get good talent now for a lot less money than you ever could before. And it's because of the internet.
Sure.
Online, like
Voiceover?
LA casting, for talent.
Sure.
Voiceover now, you go online, they do custom auditions for you, they record it and send it to you. Gone are the days of needing to go into a sound studio to do that anymore.
Oh, yeah.
So that's all changed. So in a way, it's made the process of everything we do much easier. But with that has also been the expectations of our clients thinking you can do everything faster.
Yes.
So one
Yes.
of the challenges we run into, especially with our corporate clients who are less production savvy, they'll say, "I need one change. Can you send that like in the next hour?"
We have a meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
or whatever it might be. And they really don't realize that even though, yeah, the edit itself is probably simple, you know, you still have to export, you have to render it and export it, and it all takes time and upload it. And it's not like you just snap your fingers. One day, maybe, we'll have a way of doing that.
You know, and I hope not. In all honesty, I hope not, because that time compression is very important. I remember when I started with you and some of the stuff we were looking at earlier, you know, we would get the call sheet, I think, a week or several days, and I frankly remember receiving them in the mail. You know,
Right.
so that, yeah,
Right.
I know that was, and you know, at the time I got in, I was a little older, so I mean, that was there, but it was still.
A lot older.
Thank you, Ed. I know you had to get that one in. That's okay. But you know, when you're doing that, and the process was slowed down, I felt like you could get, you know, you could work on your stuff better and do all that.
Right.
And you came up with a better product. I feel a lot of things are so rushed right now. You know, I know many times I'm getting, hey, are you available tomorrow?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I always ask myself, if someone didn't drop out and you were
Right.
the victim of circumstances, didn't you know you had a shoot coming up last week?
Right.
Wouldn't you have called me then and negotiate the price? And
You know, sometimes things happen last minute.
True.
It does happen, but
well, I think it's that customer expectation.
Well, we've tried though to train our customers and our agencies, because sometimes we do bigger projects with larger agencies that, for example, IBM will do work for IBM or something. That's not directly with IBM. We're working through another agency.
Sure.
So we have to educate the people on the agency side as to what we need, and then we start asking them for things early on.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they'll forget
Yes.
what the production side needs. So we make sure to tell them early on that we need plenty of time for all the things that we have to prep for. So.
Yeah. Now let me ask you this, and this is purely my inquisitiveness.
That's dangerous.
Oh, that's very dangerous. But it's money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The discussion of money comes up, and especially being a G&E owner and supplying crew, you know, I've got to talk about their rates. I've got to talk about the rates for the equipment, what kind of day it's going to be, and doing all that. And I do that in your company with Josh Landa, who's a
Right.
great guy.
Right.
Tell me about approaching the clients with money, and how does that work? Is it pre-prescribed? Do they say we have a budget? Are you giving them a budget? How does that
That
work?
is probably the trickiest thing, and there is no simple answer to it.
Okay.
And do we have to do it after the break, or
What's that?
do we have to do
no,
it?
no,
after the
no,
break?
no.
Oh, we don't.
no,
Okay,
no.
I just saw your stage.
You
manager.
don't run every show, Ed. This is my show.
Like, how much time we have left, guys? It was funny because when we did that stuff for Larry King, Larry had been doing this stuff for so long that
Yeah.
he knew exactly how long his segments were. We almost didn't have to count them down. He'd be like counting himself into the commercial.
Wow.
And we'd be like, how did he do that?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
amazing. Anyway, budgeting is the toughest part. And I think, unfortunately, what has happened, the reality is to get jobs is we've had to come in lower than we ever did before.
Absolutely.
And that's because of competition. The fact that, you know, now instead of $60,000 to buy a professional camera, which we had to do back 15, 20 years ago, now for $5,000 you can have an incredible camera and computer editing software on subscription,
Right.
and you can produce professional stuff. So when you have a corporate client, for example, and they want to do a project, and if it's a bid scenario, it's tough. And you try to ask them, you have a range, you have a budget range. Sometimes they'll tell you and sometimes they won't. And it depends on your relationship with the client and how much inside information you
When
can get.
they won't tell you, how many times is it because they don't really know and they're trying to find out, as opposed to we don't want to give it away?
Or they think they'll get a better price
Yeah.
if they don't tell you, so they kind of force everyone to guess, thinking that a lot of people will guess and go down.
Right.
Now, we also do bids on government work as well, not
Okay.
too successfully, unfortunately. It's a really tough thing because you're bidding against 15, 20 other companies.
Yes.
But one we did recently was for the city of Huntington Beach, and we saw the list of bids that came in. And I won't tell you the scope of the project, but 3 companies came in right around $65,000.
Okay.
3 companies came in at 210 to 270,000.
Wow.
We came in at 130,000. We were the only one right in the middle, right dead set in the middle. Now it went to a company with a lower budget, ultimately got it,
Right.
but it just gives you an idea of the range you can have for the same project scope, because you had bigger production companies who probably more established, more overhead, who said, we got to, this is our day rates. This is what we charge per day for a director. and
They
camera
weren't
guy."
going to come down.
They weren't going to come
Yeah.
down. And then the ones who were bidding lower were a lot of the smaller production companies without the overhead.
They wanted to get their
And they're
claws
just
in.
thinking, hey,
Yeah.
if we clear $30,000 in 3 months, great.
We're open for 2 more months.
Exactly, right.
Yeah.
And so that's what we have to deal with. And
Yeah,
that's the guessing
that's
game.
very interesting. Very interesting. I know, just from a G&E standpoint, and it's always a negotiation every single time. And I just, given what you said your bid was, I think you probably take the same philosophy. I just bid it like I see it. There's
Right.
nobody that's going to get the good deal, and this guy I'm going to make all the money on.
Yeah.
I come in pretty evenly
I mean,
for everyone.
We have our day rates, our hourly rates for our editors.
Yeah.
We kind of estimate how many hours we think it's going to edit, take to edit a
Yeah.
project. And then we have a base hourly rate we'd like to get. But then we always give our clients a flat rate. So as long as the project scope doesn't change, if we say we're going to edit these 3 videos
Then you
in
take
this
that
price,
on.
we take it on.
Yeah.
And we have a staff of editors and our own equipment that we own, so that's somewhat.
I
controllable
know
cost.
it's years of experience, but is there any sort of formula you use on editing? Do you think for minute shot, how much?
Experience, my
Yeah.
experience.
There's
And-
no correlation for time shot?
No,
or-
because you could have a very simple, like music piece that's music and B-roll, and if you have the right editor, he can knock it out in a
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
Or you can have something that's really heavily narrative based, which is listening to interviews, and that's really time
Now
consuming.
that's going to take a lot of
That takes
time.
a lot more time. So it really is.
Unless you have a producer there who's really picking out the nuggets, right?
Well, and a lot of
at the
times the
time.
way we shoot, we don't have the ability to do that or
Yeah.
the budget to do that. So
Right.
the editor has to sit and listen to every second of every interview, and I do a lot of this narrative cutting myself, and then
Yeah.
you have to put the information into bins to kind of coordinate your thoughts and tell the story, which is what we're doing a lot more documentary stuff, which I want to talk about in the
Right.
last part. But so really it's experience. I look at the script, if there is one, or the scope of it, and I've been doing this for 36 years, so
Yeah, right.
I have some idea.
You've been there, done that.
Yeah, I've been there,
before.
done just about everything.
So, and we'll go on because I do want to talk about your documentary too, but editing talent, because this is something that, being a gaffer, I'm never past like digging the ditch of the project, right?
Right,
I
right.
am making the raw materials that are going to get processed and used and delivered to the final client. How do you find editing talent? I mean, do you go strictly off a reel? How does that work? Because I know editors are different. Some editors excel at some things,
Yes.
and not so much the others. So how does that play?
When you say editing talent, do you mean?
In other words, you have an editor. I know you have in-house guys, but do you ever hire outside? Like, this is the guy for this project.
Not
He's
really.
gonna.
It's not really cost effective for
Yeah.
us to do that. I know what you're talking about. You're talking.
Yeah.
Well, we
A
used to.
finisher, if
yeah,
you will.
we used to do that. Now, occasionally, like on some of the stuff that we showed, like the Jaffa,
Right.
we'll bring in people to help us, maybe with the touch-ups on the skin, color correction.
Okay.
We'll hire a colorist to come down
And tweak it.
on some of Craig's projects. When we have the bigger budgets, we'll have a colorist named Gino come down, and he'll sit in our edit bay and color with Craig. So sometimes, but mostly, but again, because of the cost models now,
You're just not there.
we have to be able to utilize our in-house guys and make that work.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we can't afford to keep the doors open, and we can't be competitive on our pricing.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's great. So I think we've got some documentary stuff here that you've done.
Yeah. Well, I just there's a number of documentaries that M2G has been doing in the last few years, and
And that's kind of new for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think Chad and I have always had an interest in it, and it just kind of presented itself, and as projects, and we decided as a company it would be fun to go ahead and do them. One that we have here is actually for a group called Operation Rainbow, and you could actually just start rolling that, and I can talk over a little bit. My wife Sophia does medical missions for this group called Operation Rainbow, and they go to Latin American countries, and they do orthopedic surgery for people that can't afford to do it. And my wife's a coordinator. She's from Panama originally, so she speaks Spanish.
Yeah,
and-
your wife is a sweetheart
yeah,
too.
she's awesome. So anyway, they needed a promotional film about what they do, so I took a 5D by myself to
Okay.
Guatemala.
So you were a tourist at that point.
Well, a tourist, but yeah, I had minimal equipment.
Yeah,
so
you were coming down with an organization.
This is true like auteur filmmaking. This is
Yeah.
me doing everything, shooting it, editing it, asking the questions, the whole 9 yards. And you can see some of the
Yeah,
conditions
some of
that
the
these,
deformities
the
and
deformities.
stuff.
So this was a 10-minute documentary, really though designed to help promote and tell the story and to help raise funds for this organization. So that's a short form. This is only 10 minutes long.
10 minutes long.
Right.
I've watched this piece. It's very good.
Yeah, so it's very powerful, very emotional, and you really get the sense of what these volunteers do on a day-to-day basis,
Right.
and how challenging these missions are, because the conditions that they're in, the conditions of the hospitals.
Oh,
that
it's
they're working with,
heartbreaking.
it really is. So there's my wife there actually in that shot, but you can see all the work that we do. So that's a really
Yeah.
great thing. So in addition to like something like this right now, we're also working on a project about, it started to be about mercury poisoning, and now we're doing, expanding it to be about all types of different toxins that are in the environment.
In the environment,
Right.
yeah. I think that's really important.
And so we're doing that one, and then we've been asked to work with the Nelson Mandela Foundation on
Oh,
on a
really?
documentary.
Oh, that's
So we're
awesome.
starting. We're preparing the proposal to them.
Will you be going to South Africa for that?
We would be, yeah.
Yeah,
Ultimately,
that's great.
It's going to be a long project because we want to do a film about his legacy, not his history, because so many films, feature films
Have
have been made
done
about. They've done that. We want to do it about his legacy and what he's left behind, and that's what the foundation's all about. So anyway, that we.
That's
can,
really great.
we-
That's really
but-
great. And a great project, too, and great people doing that work. When you see pictures like that, it's so far away from our reality.
Yeah.
I think I've got stress. When I'm worried about
Yeah.
like getting a new piece of equipment or
Right.
something
Paying
or
bills or
something.
whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
paying bills, whatever. I always try to remind myself I don't have any problems. It's people like that when your child is sick, you don't have medicine money.
Yeah.
That's when you've got problems. Those are real
Well,
problems.
and in those countries, a lot of the hospitals, in Honduras, for example, they won't let you check in the hospital unless you give them $1, and most people don't have $1.
Wow. Think about that.
I
Think
showed a
about
picture
that.
to you that I would never show online because
Right.
on this,
Oh,
because
it was
startling.
startling.
It was startling, but a woman came in complaining of shortness of breath, and they lifted up her blanket, and she was in a wheelchair, and she had a dead leg from the knee
And when
down.
he says dead leg, it means that the leg was cut off at some point. The only thing
No.
left on that leg was a bone.
The main fibia, or
yeah, whatever, I'm not sure
that
what
is.
it's called, but it was
Because she had gangrene, slow
Yeah.
gangrene up to her knee.
It was
And
shocking.
it was more important to her that she get her shortness of breath taken care of.
Yeah, she
Not-
was
not-
used to the leg.
she was
Yeah, the
the
leg was
leg.
no problem.
I mean, on this trip here, we had people coming in. A guy came in with a broken arm that had been broken for 3 months,
Unbelievable.
and he just wrapped a
Unbelievable.
little, thing around it, and he was carrying it around.
Yeah, so I just say,
Yeah,
people in our industry really don't have too many
so
problems.
I think what's interesting about documentaries
Yeah.
is that they're very emotional and they're very real, and I think that's something that Chad and I levitate towards in our work anyway, and that's why we're trying to do documentaries. Documentaries don't always pay the bills because you can sell them and make some money, but they're important projects.
They are, and I think like any talent that you have, you should give back something. And
Right.
I know you view that as this way, as giving back.
Well, the one for Operation Rainbow, I did that all gratis. So
Yeah, yeah. Okay, let me just check. How much time do we have left, guys? Okay, great. What's next for you? I mean, we've talked about the documentaries. I know you're going that way, but I know. And here's the thing about Ed. This is what I would like to say about this guy. He has been busy for the 30 plus years I've known him. And that's what blows my mind. I know a lot of people come up to me and say, "Oh, you're still in the business." You know, a lot of people who were your contemporaries have gotten out of it or left or didn't make it economically. And it just is so great to see you. And I want to give everybody just something about what does it take to have a career like this?
You have to be passionate about it from the beginning. And I talked to a lot of kids getting into the industry for the first time. And I said, if you don't live it, you know, eat it, breathe it, sleep it, live it, you're never going to make it.
Absolutely. Say it again. Say it again.
If you don't eat it, sleep it, breathe it, you're not going to make it.
Yep.
Because it requires that level of dedication and passion. Going forward, I'm not really sure. I think a lot of the dreams I had as a 20-year-old have changed, obviously. Sure. When I was 19, I snuck into Steven Spielberg's office with a script. You know, snuck onto a lot.
Security.
Yeah,
Security.
Exactly. Yeah, they kicked me out the first time I came back in. They kicked me out again. Those are the things you do when you're a kid, right?
Right.
And then you see the reality of the business and, you know, the challenges of the business, and you kind of find your niche. Even though I'm doing more corporate video than anything else right now, I still love it. Mm-hmm. And to me, it's almost a better thing for me to doing because the days are more normal.
Yeah.
You know, they're 8 to 6 kind of days. Typically, they're not, you know.
Our 22-hour days.
Yeah, I don't like those shoots too much. We didn't really plan on that being that long of a day.
Right.
It just happened, as you know, that sometimes happens. But you know, I think for my own health, I'd rather not be doing days. So I think my days of dreaming to be a movie director are probably over.
Yep.
And I'm just looking at ways to kind of, you know, continue to build a business.
And you know what I mean? And just to something like the same thing, just like that passion for making for me the pretty picture, for you the pretty picture, telling a story.
Right.
That doesn't die in you. You know, that really does not die in you. I frankly, part of the reason that I'm still here doing what I'm doing is because I can't figure out any other way to satisfy that.
Right.
You know?
No, I agree. I mean, it's really the thing that was born to do.
Yes.
I'm really good at it, and I know I'm good at it because people tell me that, and I'm sure I'd be good at other things because, you know, I'm organized guy, smart guy. I'm sure I could do something else.
Yeah.
But I've chosen not to, and at this point, to me, it's until maybe I retire and then maybe try something else, you know, for fun.
Right.
This is what I do. This is who I am. So I'm going to stay true to that, and we'll see where it goes.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks, buddy.
You know, tell us the name of your company. How do we get a hold of Ed Mailhot?
M2G Media. We're in Irvine, Technology Boulevard Avenue in Irvine, and you can reach us at 949-502-7601.
Give it again.
949-502-7601, or the website there, m2gmedia.com. And again, there's nothing we can't do. There's no type of production and service that we provide is usually unmatched. I mean, we really go out of our way to satisfy our clients and make sure that whatever project they come to us with, they get what they expected and then some.
That's awesome. And I know that's the truth, too.
Yeah.
I know that's the truth. I really appreciate it, Ed. After knowing so long and having this, and I've said
About
this.
time you called me. Like, when I heard you were doing the show, I'm like, okay, when's Bernie going to call? What took you so damn long?
I had to make you sweat. That's what it was.
And you did.
I had to make you sweat.
And you did.
No, I really appreciate it. You know, I say this almost every show, but it's so great to be able to sit down with you for an hour and talk like we never get to do.
That's about all I can do.
Yeah, we're done now.
Yeah, we're definitely done.
All right, everybody. Well, listen, thanks a lot. Thanks for coming to the show. And we've got Ed Mailhot on today, and this has been a great hour. Thank you much. We'll see you next week at Bernie's Applebox.
Cut. That's a wrap.